All right, everybody, welcome back to One Thing for Certain. As usual, I'm LA.
And I'm Hollis.
All right, so first thing I want to start off is saying, the last video we did insane numbers. I don't know if it was the subject matter. I think it was the subject matter. I literally had somebody tell me that they have never seen their mom laugh that hard before. Granted, we were not trying to be funny, but sometimes the material writes itself, as they say.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we gained almost 500 new subscribers. So it was over 500 likes, a bunch of comments. So for the record, that subscriber still has not had sex
With him?
with him.
Or anyone?
Anyone. She still ain't had sex. I think she's in love, so she kind of wants to have sex with him. But hey, we're not telling you to do anything you don't want to do. We're just saying, hey, at some point, you gotta dust that. Never mind. Listen. So tonight, we promised everybody that we were gonna call a subscriber, and they were gonna ask us questions, and we were gonna answer it live. So Hollis is gonna dial her up. She's got a few questions that she wants to discuss with us, and we'll see what we can do for her.
Hey, let's do it.
All right, so here we go.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening as well.
Good evening.
Yeah, you don't sound shy at all.
No, I'm not.
That's a good thing.
All right, that's good. So, first of all, how do you like the channel?
I love this channel. I think y'all doing a great job.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Are you excited to be our very first live call?
Oh my God, yes. I'm ecstatic.
Well, that's awesome because literally you're our very first. This is a new format we're gonna try, and you're the very first one.
Oh wow, I'm excited.
That's cool.
So have a little bit of patience as we work through the first iteration of it.
No, I got you. I know what I'm doing.
So don't hang up
listen.
until it's done, correct?
Hollis might be like, he work with him, but trust me, I know what I'm doing. I got you.
Okay. So don't hang up until you're done, correct?
Oh yeah, that's correct. Don't hang up unless we make you mad or something.
That's right.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So Hollis is telling me that you have a couple of questions.
Yeah, I did. I texted to him. Let's see. The first one was, why are men not affectionate?
Okay.
So
Then I have-
let's stop on the first one. That's a good way to kind of dig into that first question.
Now, actually, this is why we wanted to do this format this way, because a lot of times when we get questions sent to us through Instagram or whatever, it's a general question. Now we're talking to the actual caller. We can ask you, hey, so what? Give us an example of what you mean by, because that's a very vague question. Do you agree?
Of course.
Yeah. So we just, you don't have to go into a lot of examples, but just give us a couple of examples of what you mean by affectionate. Like, what do you want to see from a man as far as affection?
So, from the men that I've experienced, whenever they've had a bad day or they're going through something mentally, that, of course, if you're going through something mentally, we can't really help. But, you're having a bad day or something's going wrong. Men tend to be more of want to stay to themselves. When women, we're more of, we want to talk about it. I need a hug. I need physical touch, and it's almost like men just kind of want to be left alone and not want to. I don't know. They don't want to show that. I don't know if they want to show that side as it's a weakness or what, and then a lot of times men will say, like, when a woman is feeling sad or has things going on, they they have that testosterone that kicks in where it's more like, hey, like, you all right, calm down, you be all right, dust yourself off, you good. Like, but sometimes, we do want that affection and we do need it because, it's imperative to us to, and we know what it feels like to receive love. I don't know if that's a thing that men just don't like. A lot of men don't like to receive love that way, being affectionate, or if it's frowned upon in a different aspect.
Okay, Hollis, you wanna start that off?
I think there's a lot of places to kind of unpack in that statement. The first thing I'll say is I think men and women, not always, so I definitely want to put that out there first. It's not always, but in general, men and women express emotions in different ways. So I think when men are stressed or have a burden, if men seem detached, it's because they're trying to think through their problems and really focused on what the solution is, and they may not express that to you because a lot of times that person we express that to is our homeboy, somebody we know that can relate. We don't necessarily show that same vulnerability to our significant other at times. I think it's one of those things where men can relate to men, and sometimes women can't relate in the way that we need. We don't need emotion. We don't vent to our homeboy for emotion. We vent from a logical standpoint. So that's the first thing I'll say.
I'm going to say this. One, if you're in a relationship, and I think you and your significant other should be best friends, right? You don't agree with that?
I don't agree with that. I think
what do you mean?
you can be best friends, but that doesn't mean that you're the friend that I come to for everything.
Well, that's where we disagree, because I feel like if I can share my bed with you, I should be able to share my emotions with you as well.
Well, it's not that you can't.
Well,
It's just that I think there's some things that women are not equipped for, and there's some things that men are not equipped for. Sometimes when women complain to men, our first instinct is to solve that problem. So sometimes she needs a woman's ear because they have a like mind, and where she may not want a solution, women can listen and not give that solution. That's harder for men to do.
Well, that's because it's a pride thing. Men are prideful because if I walk in and if I'm dealing with something and it's let's say I have something at work and it's got me emotional and I feel vulnerable. A pride, and a lot of times they don't want their mate to see that.
I can see that.
So that's why they don't open up like they should.
I won't say. I agree to a certain extent, but I still think it's a very different experience because we solve problems, and again, this is in general. In general, men solve problems. Sometimes women would just want to be heard. I don't think men have the same need to be heard as often as women do.
I've been in relationships where the woman helps solve the problem.
Not saying she can't.
Yeah,
but it's from a standpoint when I'm a problem solver.
Okay.
So when I hear a problem, my mind thinks about, okay, how do we solve this? How do we solve problem A and get past this? Because if you're telling me you're hurt by this, my first instinct is not to say, oh, it's going to be okay. My first instinct is to find out what's hurting you and how do we solve that problem.
Yeah, but in order to solve the problem, you got to open up. And what she's saying is men, if I'm not mistaken, what you're saying is men don't open up like they should. That's the affectionate part, correct?
Right.
Yeah. See, men, and I think it's a pride thing. Because I've been down that road where I don't want my significant other to see me in a vulnerable state.
Right.
And I kind of keep to myself. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. Actually, it's not. You should be able to open yourself up to your significant other.
I think sometimes it may be a pride thing, but I think overall, I think it's just women and men communicate in different ways. And we know that. That's why I said, you may be my significant other, but that doesn't mean I'm going to come to you with everything first.
And see, that's where we disagree. Because I think if you are my significant other and we are, we're one, as they say, I should be able to come to you first, not my homeboy. I get what you're saying.
Not saying you should be able to. You can, but I don't think that's not the narrative that I see play out.
But do you agree with me?
I agree with you.
Thank you. Because if we're one, Yeah, we're one. I should come to you first and not my homeboy. Because if I'm going to my homeboy with my deepest issues, I
See,
think no.
nobody said that it's their the deepest lifelong issues.
Well, let me say, showing your vulnerability to your significant other, that's a sign of affection. Again,
It's letting us
In
in.
some ways, yes. In some ways, yes.
There you go.
But in some ways, I have some friends that I know are logical people, and I have some friends that I know are emotional first people.
I'm not saying you can, but let me
So-
make something clear. I'm not saying you can't go to your homeboy. I'm just saying
No.
that conversation should start at home.
And again,
That's just how I feel.
I'm going to disagree with that completely because it depends on the dynamic. I think, again, women and men handle certain situations in different ways. Now, that doesn't mean I won't tell my significant other at some point or talk to her about it, but I'm going to get a different kind of feedback from my partner, my homeboy, my bro, that I know we think alike. We have the same value structure when it comes
So
to
why
problems.
don't you and your significant other think alike?
Because we're not supposed to.
But you and your homeboy do?
Not all, but some yes. I got some homeboys that we think just alike. When it comes to business, when it comes to our values in life, we're on the same page.
I think there should be, but we're talking about an emotional attack. We're talking about affection here. We're not talking about you and your homeboys clicking when it comes to
No, she asked, but why? She
Oh.
said, why don't men come? So that's the reason why. A lot of times they're not going to get that logical voice from you. So sometimes they may detach a little bit because they know they're not going to get that logical voice. They know they may get that emotional voice or that nurturing. When sometimes it's not about being nurtured, it's about we sometimes we do need a kick in the butt to get it together. And sometimes that's not from your spouse.
My best kick in the butt came from a woman. I can tell you that.
See?
I can tell you that.
Not mine.
All right.
Not mine.
So as you can see, me and Hollis got different views on your first question.
Right.
I understand you have a second question.
Okay, my second question is 5 things a woman shouldn't do on a first date. Like dates that you've been on to where it's like, yeah, I'm done. Like mentally and
Wow. That is a good
That's a good question.
Wow. We should have had you on sooner. Okay, let me tell you, and this I might upset the male subscribers here, but let me tell you something on the first date that kind of turns me off.
Okay.
Discussing sex on the first date.
I agree.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's always been a turnoff to me.
Yep.
On the first date, because because I'm not saying we're gonna sleep together, but when you come out the gate discussing sex on the first date, it kind of gives me a bad impression.
It's as they say, it's a red flag.
Yeah. Now
I agree.
that's me. What about you?
First, I want to say amen to that one. I agree with that one. One thing that definitely kind of throws me off is,
And this is number 2, right?
this will be number 2. Is focusing on money. The conversation around money. How much money do you make? Really honing in and trying to question me about money. That's a big turn off to me.
So that's number 2.
That's my one that makes 2.
Number 3 for me is moving way too fast on the first date, and I ain't talking about discussing sex. That's we already discussed that. What I mean by that is already talking about. First of all, already discussing a second date, moving in. So yeah, I've had that happen.
I've had it happen also.
Like literally, like in the middle of the day, like, oh, so tomorrow when we can go here, I'm like, whoa, we don't even know if we clicking tonight.
I agree.
So that's number 3, moving too fast.
So number 4, I would say, is, and this is just me, being so aggressive in the date. Like if your order is not quite right, demanding the waitress come back, or being very aggressive with trying to take charge of certain things at the date. To me, that's a turn off to me.
Aggressive on a date.
Aggressive with things around a date. Like, again, if the waitress hasn't come back fast enough and I'm waiting to say something for the right time, and it's a more aggressive, excuse me, before I can even get a word out. I'm like, okay, I was about to say something. Or just being very aggressive with the wait staff in the beginning of the date. I've had that happen a couple times, and that's definitely a turn off.
Wow.
And number 5, and again, I speak from experience, asking very, very in-depth personal questions. I do not on the first date.
Like what? Like, give me an example.
I like, for instance, I remember I was on a first date, and they were asking something about, I think it was something like next weekend. They were like, "Oh, are you looking? You would be interested in doing that?" And I said, "Well, no, I need to go visit my parents, because my dad's been sick." Then all of a sudden, she wants to go straight into my dad's medical history and all this stuff. So I'm like, "Hey, my dad's been sick. Do I need to really give you a diagnosis right here?"
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I just think some stuff on the first date is some things that I don't like. If you tell me your mom is sick or something like that, I don't even know all the details.
I agree.
Right.
I don't even know all the details. And the main one is if somebody say, and obviously if you're on a date, this is the number one question that's discussed on a date, at least for me, and I think you two might agree as well. Like, you want to know about, hey, how what happened with your last relationship? Now that's a common question, but you don't need to go all into.
See, that segues into because I'm gonna give you a bonus. You said 5, but I'm gonna give you the 6th one is spending too much time talking about what your ex didn't do.
Yeah.
Or the issues with your ex.
I don't want to spend the whole date sitting there talking about your ex.
That's right. That's a huge.
Because then I'm gonna start thinking, okay, you still hung up on this guy.
That's right.
Because we don't literally spent the whole date talking about him.
That's right.
Like, he's so bad, but we still talking about him. Mm-hmm. Now, and honestly, would you want to spend your date with listen to a guy talk about his ex-girlfriend?
Absolutely not.
There you go. That right there, I can promise you, if that conversation goes that route, that's our first and last date right there.
Absolutely.
Because you done literally told me you still hung up on this guy.
And no matter if he did you right or wrong, anything I do is gonna be.
It's always gonna be a comparison
to him.
Oh, well, he did that. I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, at some point, two people, or even if I've never met you in my lifetime, at some point, two people might do the same thing at one point. That don't mean we're the same person.
That's right. Why did you do it? The motivation behind it, what it means, is totally different. So there's a lot of similarities in everything. Just like I've seen people talk about, oh, don't send me a good text in the morning, good morning, beautiful. Why not? If a man wants to send you a text saying good morning, beautiful, why not? Oh, he's in rotation, he's sending that to 10 people. You can't say that. You may think that because that's happened to you in the past, but if somebody wants to send you a text, accept it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there you go. We gave you 6.
Thank you.
What's your comments on those 6?
I don't really have too many comments on it.
Well, here's a better question. Have you experienced any of that on a date? On a first date?
Are you guilty of that? Better yet.
In the past, I have been guilty of one. Absolutely, yes.
Which one?
You want to really answer that?
I am. Ask which one.
I have talked about sex on a first date before.
Okay.
So
really?
Yeah, I have in the past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But now, of course, we know that's a no-no. But yeah, I guess more so. Do I have time for another quick question?
Yeah, you do.
So, what's something that's refreshing to see on the date that is like, oh wow, like, is there anything that is refreshing that a woman can bring to the date that would just wow the man?
Well, listen, let me jump in there right now. This will wow me. If the check comes and she offers to pay for it, you done knocked me off my feet already. I ain't gonna lie. Now, granted, I'll still pay for the meal. I'm just saying that's refreshing to me.
Just the offer.
The offer.
There you go.
And I think that goes beyond in everything. The offer is huge. It's priceless. So I will co-sign the offer. Oh my gosh, that's like okay.
Yeah,
okay.
That would blow me away right there. I ain't gonna lie. Yep.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one.
Well, listen, you have been a great first caller. I swear. Like I said, we should have had you on sooner. You had some good questions.
Okay.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And keep listening to us now.
I will. Wonderful show. Thanks so much. Y'all have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Yeah, she has some great questions.
Great questions.
All right, so as you can see, let us know how you like that format. She was a really good guest.
Really good. Good feedback.
Let us know if you want us to give you a call, or you want to give us a call, and we can discuss your subject on the channel, and we'll see where it goes. But I really like that though, because you get to be more in depth with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can ask follow up questions
That's right.
instead of just
Get some
going
details.
off. Yeah, exactly. So again, everybody, thanks for checking in. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers, man. That's
crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So again, everybody, thank you for all the support, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.